he comes from an area. You might
That
have
boy
heard
Slap about to
throughout the
be
course of the
home.
trial
Free
that there was
wise
an
Sal.
album,
Oh no, I had
a
to go
concert tour.
live.
We came from nothing.
Hold on, wait a minute.
And that is true. Mr. Williams came from, I hate to use the word abject poverty, but that really is the case. Came from an area where there was a significant amount of crime, where, as you've heard, he's had tragedy in his life and has observed tragedy in his life. And he has gone through a good bit. He has been involved in a lot, but he has raised himself up. He has done the best he could and has done phenomenally well, and is, I think, an inspiration to a lot of people from that community
Boy Slap.
who look to him and see the success that he has gained and have been fully supportive of him. But he finds himself here. He is in front of you. He is tendering this plea because he accepts responsibility. You have heard everything Mrs. Steele has had to say. I can only ask that you follow what we have put before you. You also have, I believe, the paperwork
that boy
that was given
Jeffrey,
to you by
man.
the state, which kind of gives you some idea of what they were looking for as well in terms of conditions on Mr. Williams if we were to have reached some sort of agreement. And we ask that if you feel that there is anything within the state's proposal that might be appropriate in terms of sentence for Mr. Williams, that the court please feel free to do that. There is nothing that he puts himself before the court. And I think 2.5 years sitting, going through this process, challenging the process, but now standing before you and asking that you consider everything and sentence him appropriately in the way that we've requested, I'd simply ask you, I join Mrs. Steele and Mr. Williams in asking you to do the same. And I thank you as well, as Mr. Steele did, for your patience with us and for bringing some order to the proceedings that candidly was needed. So that's all I have to say. I thank you again, and I ask you to consider everything that's been put before you.
All right, Mr. Williams, is there anything that you want to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh.
I take full responsibility for, my crimes or my charges. I want to say sorry to my family, my mom. My mom got 11 kids. I can't say all their names, My managers, my kids that's not here. Really everybody that got something to do with this situation, I want to say sorry for just having so much time invested into this, and I am a smart guy. I am a good guy, and
He even
I
said
really got a
sorry
good
to
heart,
Yak. My boy
I
Yak
find
in the
myself
corner right here.
a
like,
lot of stuff
yo,
because
dog, what happened to me, gang?
because I was just nice or cool, and I understand that you can't be that way when you reach a certain height because it could end bad, and it don't really have to have nothing to do with you, but it could end bad and it could, fall on you. And I know the choice is yours, it's up to you, and I hope that you allow me to go home today and just trust in
Free that boy Slap, man. Free that boy Jeffrey.
again, unless it's at a bar in the future or something. Just out of this type of situation, I promise you I won't ever be in this type of situation
My
again.
boy said a bar, as he should. You see the black brothers back here? Like, yeah, free that boy Jeffrey.
I made something and I didn't take full advantage of it. I'm sorry.
Bro, don't even know what to say. Just free that man.
You are really, truly, honestly, the best thing that has happened to me because you made everything fair for me and everybody involved on both sides,
My boy holding back tears right
Sorry
now.
to the sheriff, everybody for just having to put extra time in. I know y'all got paid more money, but I'm sorry to put extra time in to be away from y'all family, and I just hope that
My boy had to put it a little
you
joke.
find it in your
Nah,
heart
free
to
Slat though.
allow me to go
Free
home,
my boy Yak too. I ain't forget you, Yak.
be with my family,
Free
and
my boy Yak,
just
man.
do better as a person. I know what I bring to the
Yo,
table.
Chad, how y'all feeling today, man? We
What I
here with
am.
this YSL trial.
I know
Shout out to Woody.
the heights I've reached. I
He
know
got them here.
people
Yo,
in the
I'm crying
community.
right now.
You know, all people. I learned
Please,
that
Judge, send my boy
late.
home.
Like these past 2 or 3 years of my life, I kind of learned that late, and maybe it was because I was, you know, probably on drugs or anything. I don't know, but I have came to my senses and I understand what I mean to this world. But I am a good guy, you know. I don't mind doing stuff like, you know, like free shows, and I always did that. You know, I did free shows and gave it to single parents, millions of dollars. You know, I made $1.8 million on a free show, and I gave it all to single parent charity. And I did like 2 or 3 shows that made like $700,000 a piece, and I gave
Free
it to
Jeffrey, man. Yo, Jeffrey,
the
we don't
breast
care what
cancer
you did.
organization.
You
Like,
didn't do
know,
it.
I do things. Like I put millions of dollars back into my
The
community.
bad
for
things, I
real.
mean.
I
All the
really
good
did.
things, yeah.
I did
You
more than
did it.
anybody ever did from my side, you know. But I understand, you know, rap lyrics. I understand how it could be twisted. I understand what it could do to the mind of people. I understand all
Fat
that.
bro right here, he a
I
hater.
promise you, I'm 100% changing that. You know, it's just
Him.
I'm older. I'm grown now. You know, and it's just like I'm smarter. It's more things to rap about. Like I've experienced a lot of good things. I experienced more bad things, but I experienced a lot of good things too. And
He like, bro, stop trying.
Anyway.
You know you going back to Cleveland and do that shit
Well, I
again.
appreciate it, and I appreciate that you do realize how much of an impact you have on people.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
it's past your neighborhood. It's worldwide, especially.
Worldwide,
young
free
people.
Jeffrey.
And having come up from where you came up from and living in and around that, you know that gangs are damaging to our community. And it may be that a whole lot of rap music and the rap industry is, I mean, honestly, it sounds like a modern day version of kind of WWE wrestling that used to be on television, where people would just get up and posture and act like they hated each other. And it may be that that's a lot of what is going on in the music industry with rap. But whether it is fake or not, it has tremendous impact on kids and young people who think, this is cool, this is what I want to do, look at him, he's a millionaire, I can do that by being, you know, a gangster in the streets. And that's not true. What you're likely to have happen to you if you're a gangster in the streets is you get shot, you get killed, or you get thrown in prison. And those are, you know, by far the most likely outcomes. And, you know, you've been in here watching the trial, and you've seen the pictures of Mr. Ryan posing with a gun as big as he is at 15 years old and going out and shooting and killing another teenager. And that's what gangs do, and that's unfortunately a lot of what rap music does. And if you are a modern day John Lennon, you know, I mean, he might have rapped too in this day and age. I don't know, but I know you're talented.
She said John Lennon, I'm crying.
Even if you choose to continue to rap, you need to try to use your influence to let kids know that that is not the way to go, and that there are ways out of poverty besides hooking up with the powerful guy at the end of the street selling drugs. And, you know, I know that happens for protection sometimes, but a much better way would be getting an education and setting, you know, hanging around with people who set a good example. And you be one of those people that sets a good example. I mean, all right, so that's
Yo, I know Shorty right here.
I could also go on.
Bro,
I
I know
you to
Shorty
try to
right here is
be
tight.
more of the solution.
You can see it
and
on her
less of the
face.
problem.
She's mad. Look,
All right.
she's shutting down that computer like,
All
yo,
right.
get me out
So
of here.
It is not lost on the court that the state had they been able to come to agreement on certain special conditions, was willing to entirely dismiss the RICO count, was willing to entirely dismiss one of the gang counts, and was willing to entirely dismiss machine gun count. Was willing to give a sentence that permitted Mr. Williams to walk out of the door today. And therefore does not seem to be particularly worried that Mr. Williams, if on the streets, would be a danger to society. I'm taking that into consideration and crafting my sentence.
Okay.
And in permitting a no longer
Free that boy slide
in one of the two gang counts, I would not be permitting the NOLO to the one if you were not pleading guilty to at least one of them. But you are, and y'all admit a factual basis for the counts that you are pleading guilty to. I find there to be a factual basis for those counts and for the
she is
remaining
mad
counts, with which you are charged. I am going to impose a sentence, and I've taken a little bit of the suggested special conditions from the defense and a little bit of the special conditions suggested by the prosecution.
She's still passing paperwork?
On count one, the court sentence is 20 years to serve 5 years, commuted to time served, the balance of 15 years to be probated, and a $25,000 fine. On count two, the sentence is 5 years to serve, commuted to time served. That's the minimum sentence that's permitted on that count. It is required to be run consecutively. I'm going to run it consecutive to count one, but I am going to backload. Oh, I'm sorry, that is not commuted. That is 5 years to serve, and it's going to be run consecutively to count one, backloaded, by which I mean after you serve your 15 years of probation, if you have been successful on that probation, and I sincerely hope that you are, then at the end of that 15 years, I will commute the entire rest of any service portion of your sentence to time served. So I'll get to the end of it and give you the total sentence.
Free that boy slide.
I'm also going to impose a $15,000 fine with regard to
That's nothing.
Count.
We gonna pay that.
Count 57, 20 years to serve 5, commuted to time served. The balance
Probation.
of 15 years probated, concurrent with count 1. Count 58, 10 years to serve 5, commuted to time served. Balance probated, concurrent with count 1. 59, 5 years to serve, commuted to time served, concurrent with count 1. 60, 5 years to serve, commuted to time
65.
served, concurrent with count 1. Count 61, 5 years to serve. That is required to be also a consecutive sentence, so that's going to be run consecutively to count 56 and backloaded. Count 62.
You was trying to get
10
that boy
years to
life.
serve, also required to be served consecutively. That's going to be consecutive to count 61, also backloaded. So essentially, the total sentence is 40 years to serve the first 5 years in prison, but commuted to the time that you have already served, followed by 15 years on probation.
Damn.
Followed then by the backloaded 20 years,
Yo.
which can be served in custody and will be served in custody if you are not successful on your probation. If you are successful in completing your 15 years probation, that will be commuted to time served. You are to remain on reporting status for the first half of your probation, active reporting for the first 7.5 years of your probation, and that is pursuant to OCGA 17-10-1, subsection 2A. And Mr. Steele and Mr. Adams, in order to keep him on reporting status, there needs to be good cause shown We all concede that good cause is shown here?
Stipulate.
All right, I appreciate that. Special conditions of your probation.
What good cause? What do it mean?
Can I have a second, Your Honor?
Sure.
Let the judge. Thank you, Your Honor.
I want to know the hell.
You had enough time to talk with your attorneys?
Yes.
Okay. All right, special conditions of your probation. After 48 hours from your release, you are to stay away from the metro Atlanta area, and that's defined by the U.S. Census Bureau. It may change, but you can look that up anytime to figure out what that is. For the first 10 years of your probation, subject to the following exceptions, you are permitted to be in the metro Atlanta area to attend any wedding, funeral, or graduation from high school, college, or graduate school of any of your immediate family members. And immediate family members is defined the same way that you all were contemplating it when you were negotiating. You can get here up to 24 hours prior to any such event, and you need to leave within 48 hours after any such event. In addition, during each year of your probation, I'm going to require that you come to the metro Atlanta area and make a live anti-gang and anti-gun violence presentation 4 times a year.
Damn.
Each year of your probation at a grade school, a middle school, a boys or girls club, anything like that.
Yeah,
that type
hey,
of
but
group.
damn.
And if you want to, that presentation can include a benefit concert, and these presentations may count towards your required community service hours, which I'm going to impose, that during each year of your probation, you perform 100 hours of community service. You are, and this is required by the fact that there's a gang conviction. You shall not knowingly have contact of any kind or character with any other member or associate of any criminal street gang. Exception to that, if your brother is a member of any street gang, I hope you talk him into getting out of it. Quantavious Greer, and then also Sergio Kitchens, as long as you are contractually obligated to him. That is going to include anybody who is named in this indictment, except as absolutely necessary to conduct the lawful business of your musical career, and to any extent that the state
that
is
boy
not
Jeffrey
agreeing
coming home
to
today.
the exception for Mr. Kitchens. In the event that that part is not enforceable because it is only a portion of a special condition, going to provide that that be severable from the rest of this, and I'll put some case cites in the sentence sheet for that. You are in no way to promote any criminal street gang or any criminal street gang activity, including on any social media platform. You are not to utilize any hand signs, terminology, or language that promotes any criminal street gang. You are not to participate in any criminal street gang activity. You are not to knowingly engage in any contact with any of the victims that are listed in this indictment or with any of their family members. And you may not have in your possession or with arm's reach any kind of a firearm because you're going to be a convicted felon. And that is, except I know that you have security and you need security. You can be within arm's reach of a firearm that is in the possession of either licensed law enforcement or licensed security personnel that are in your security detail or anybody that you're performing with. You are to submit to random drug screens and not use any drugs unless they are prescribed for you by a licensed physician.
Damn.
You are to execute a Fourth Amendment waiver that will permit the search of your person, residence, vehicles, and electronics for any firearms, any criminal street gang paraphernalia, or any illicit drugs. And as I mentioned with regard to one of the first of your co-defendants from this trial, at least since I've been involved, to plead guilty, our Uniform Superior Court rules instruct and provide that it is absolutely proper for a judge to grant leniency in sentencing when, quote, "the interest of the public in the effective administration of criminal justice are served," unquote. And I think that this plea is in the interest of the public and in the interest of effective administration of justice. Have been trying to ensure that, to the extent I can, this trial also abides by that. It's been challenging at certain times. I find your plea to be freely, knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily entered with an understanding of the consequences, and I accept it as such. I also need to inform you that your attorneys were going to represent you through either the last day of this term of court or 30 days from now, whichever is later, and any of the filings that were mentioned that need to be filed within that time, they would file on your behalf unless they are permitted to withdraw from representing you before that time. I am not going to impose the conditions suggested by your counsel about the benefit concerts and the donations to the sheriff's office, but I certainly strongly encourage you to do those things and to do and continue to do things that benefit your community and especially help young people to stay out of criminal trouble. And unless there is anything from counsel other than that.
I have one matter, Your Honor.
Okay, and does the state as well?
Yeah. Yes, right.
Your Honor, with regards to Mr. Williams being permitted to come to the Metro Atlanta area
Yes.
or Cleveland Avenue area for funeral or the other items,
Right.
can you also consider, God forbid, there's a serious medical condition of a person that
In
is,
his immediate family,
yeah.
certainly, we can add that. And I also meant to mention, because I know you do travel all over in order to pursue your career, that it's permissible for your probation to be transferred to out of state, and that has to be done through probation, but that is fine with the court. And you may also keep your, nobody's mentioned it, but keep your passport and travel out of state and internationally to the extent that you need to do that for business purposes as well.
Okay. It's
All
still
right,
fair.
Mr. Body.
Yes, just very briefly, and thank you. The district attorney just wanted me to urge the court, due to the fact that the Thomases have been negatively affected incredibly traumatically by what has been discussed by both parties here today, to make a brief statement as she believes that they fall within the exception or within the bounds of Marcy's law, if the court would allow. I understand the court made a ruling earlier as it relates to that, but she wants
All right, thank you. And
What?
I appreciate, well, I cannot even begin to understand what they must, anybody must be going through when they lose a family member to violence or criminal violence. Mr. Williams himself has expressed his own sorrow to the family. I, again, am going to stand by my belief that the appropriate time to hear a victim impact statement from them is at the close of the trial that contains
The
the
fuck they want to make a statement for?
murder count with regard to their family member. All right, thank you. Okay, court is
He dead.
adjourned.
Damn.
Good luck to you. And I don't have any, there better be no violations, but if there are any, you're coming back to see me.
Ah,
Thank you, Your Honor.
ah. Free outside. Shot. Shot. Free outside. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. They free that boy Schlatt. They free that boy
Let's take
Jeffrey,
a,
boy.
let's take a recess and I'll be back.
That boy Jeffrey going home. Aye. 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 Jeffrey, boy. Our boy, Jeffrey. Nah, shout out that judge, though. They already putting out false news talking about he's facing 45 years and shit. Watch this shit live, TMZ. Stop fucking capping. TMZ always
Hey there,
lying.
Young Thug Trial Watchers. This is a law and crime legal alert. A mother was recently awarded millions of dollars in a lawsuit against baby formula manufacturers after her premature baby was diagnosed with necrotizing enterocolitis, or NEC, after receiving bovine-based formula. The lawsuits allege that Enfamil and Similac premature formulas are linked to NEC, but manufacturers failed to warn the public of the risks and instead targeted them with false advertising. So if your premature baby was diagnosed with NEC after they were fed Enfamil or Similac, you may qualify for compensation. And one of our legal sponsors is partnering with Wagstaff Law Firm. This is a national firm renowned for their expertise to ensure that eligible claims are thoroughly presented. Visit babyformuladamages.com/YTT.
I'm gonna be back, chat. Y'all can watch this shit without me.